Hello and welcome to a Times special presentation for Thirukkural with the Times, where we explore real-world lessons from the classic Tamil text Thirukkural with motivational speaker, author and diversity champion Bharathi Baskar as she explores the masterpiece. A reporter once asked Adlai Stevenson, US ambassador to the UN during the Gulf War, what he thought was the essence of diplomacy. What do you think, he said? Curious? From real-life incidents to legends of yore, we look at how tact and wit make for great partners in diplomacy. Even Thiruvalluvar believed this and gave his emissaries this advice.
Diplomacy is a serious and strenuous task, but few diplomats have cracked the best way to steer through the icicles of contradictory views. They use humor, wit and sarcasm to achieve their goals. When US Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken urged India not to buy Russian oil, it was a diplomatic tangle for India. Immediately, a foreign media journalist asked Mr. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs, about this. Jaishankar's witty response changed the somber and strained mood of the gathering. I suspect, looking at the figures, India's purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. The audience, predominantly European diplomats, clapped and enjoyed the response only because it was articulated with a tinge of humor. Exceptional diplomats could tell you to go to hell in a way that makes you ask for directions. In 1960, British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan was addressing a United Nations summit. Soviet leader Khrushchev intervened many times and various diplomats kept asking for translation. All of a sudden, Khrushchev started hammering on his desk loudly. The situation became tense. Mr. Macmillan paused and said, "I'd like that translated too, if I may." The house was submerged in laughter and a smiling Khrushchev sat down. A reporter once asked Adlai Stevenson, US ambassador to the UN during the Gulf War time, what he thought was the essence of diplomacy. Stevenson responded, alcohol, protocol, and cholesterol in the order of importance. Diplomacy is about calling a spade, but adorning the spade with a diamond. George Bernard Shaw once said, if you're going to tell people the truth, you better make them laugh, otherwise you will be killed. You may be surprised to know that the ancient Tamil scholar Avayar carried out a successful diplomatic mission using this technique. It is possible that there were many Avayars during the Sangam and post-Sangam era. The name Avayar combines the Tamil word Avai, referring to a respectable woman, with an honorific suffix. The first Avai lived during the 2nd century CE. Her patron was King Adiyaman Neduman Anji, who ruled Dharmaburi. King Thondaiman of Kanjipuram was trying to initiate a war with Adiyan. Hence, Adiyan's court poet, Avvai, travelled from Dharmaburi to Kanchi to carry out a consular discussion to stop the war. I thought about her travel and I shuddered. The distance should be about 300 kilometers. The woman travelled alone all by herself in an era of no roads and no transportation. Where was she staying in the nights? And how long did she take for this travel? We do not know. But what we know is that she was able to stop the war. How did she accomplish this? Her tactful style was a pleasant conversation interlaced with wit and sarcasm. The legend goes like this. Thondaiman welcomed Avayar, gave her a grand lunch, and then took her to his armory. He had an impressive weapon collection where all the arms looked brand new and glittering in the sunlight. Avai told him that she was very impressed with the pack. She also told him that the weapon collection of Adiyaman was not that impressive. His ammunition was broken, blood-stained, and all under repair and maintenances. After a brief silence, Thondaiman understood the point. Adiyaman had a rich experience in warfare, and hence his ammunitions were broken, whilst his were all new, yet to be tested on the battlefield. His enemy was a veteran, and he was a novice. Thondaiman realized his imprudence and opted for peace. Avvaiyar's tact and diplomacy helped avert the war between the two kings, and this incident is mentioned in poem 95 of Purananuru. Avvaiyar must have taken her hints from Thirukkural. Thiruvalluvar tells all emissaries, be brief, cut the clutter, and add a flavor of humor. Thogachcholli, Thoovaadha Neekki, Nagachcholli, Nandri Payappadham, Thoodhu. With brevity in speech, interlaced with humor, and avoiding the unwanted details, bring the best outcome, and that is the virtue of an ambassador.